Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. I'm Ani and today we are going to be doing a wig washing tutorial. I'm going to show you guys how to wash your wig and keep it looking nice for more reuse. So stay tuned for that. Also be sure to hit the subscribe button. If you guys haven't hit it already, hit it because just hit it. So I'll see you guys when we get back. Stay tuned. Alright guys, so as I said in the intro, we are going to be doing a wig washing tutorial. I'm going to show you guys exactly how to wash your wig without ruining it or getting it to shed too much. So I'm going to show you the proper way to do that. So first thing you're going to need, a wig. I would prefer, it could be any type of wig. If you want, you can do synthetic, you can do synthetic blend, you can do human, it doesn't really matter. Either way, you want to do that. And the second thing you want to use is hair shampoo. So oh, this is conditioner. Oh no, this is shampoo. So yeah, you don't need shampoo or conditioner, but if you want, you can. It really just depends on you. I don't condition mine unless they're human hair, so I mean, it's really up to you. But so let's go ahead and get into this. Let's get started. Okay, so now that we've gotten in the bathroom and we're ready to get started washing our wig, I'm gonna go ahead and start running like some lukewarm water. You don't want it to be too hot, because you don't want it to like be scorching. It's kind of like washing your real hair. You don't want the water too hot, you don't want it too cold. So I'm just gonna kind of run it, and then I'm gonna put my stopper down. Hold on, let me stop this. I put my stopper down so that way I can keep it nice and I gotta make sure the water's warm enough. Keep it nice and plain water. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my stopper down and form like a little sink full of water. But you wanna make sure that it fills up enough so that way you can have enough to really sink your wig in the water. You're gonna kinda let it soak, so I would advise you to put enough water in there. So now we're just kinda letting it fill with some water. So I also bought a comb so that way I can comb through it if need be. But sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't. So we're gonna go ahead and take our wig, and as you guys can see, I started combing out my edges to this wig because I mean it's a little easier if you just kind of comb out some of the edge control in the wig. So I can see all that filled up. And I'm kind of just combing it all back because I want to have full exposure to the lace in the front. I'm going to show you guys exactly how to clean that as well, so make sure you are paying close attention. So now that I have water in my sink, I'm going to go ahead and put my wig in the water. Just going to go ahead and let it sit in there, kind of get it all wet. You kind of want to just get it completely wet. And as you get it wet, you want to just kind of soak it. So what I like to do to get some of the edge residue out, I just like to kind of run my finger over the lace to kind of get some of that stuff out of the lace. Because y'all, before I had it had a whole lot of like white stuff in there. As y'all can see, it's just kind of like melting out. So you make sure you get this front lace part really good. Even the parts with hair. Make sure you get that really well so that way when the wig dries it doesn't have any residue in it. So now you guys can see the difference between the lace and a little bit of the cleanliness of it. So I'm just kind of using my comb to kind of comb it back in the front. Make sure you're combing it back all the way, so all of the hairs, and make sure you get those. And even the parts that are a little, so as you guys can see, there's a little bit more residue in here. So I'm just gonna take this part and just kind of try to rinse it out. So as you guys can see, this is not the first time I've washed this wig, so It's not as dirty, but the very first time I washed it, it had a lot of dirt in it. So So as you guys can see, my wig is kind of wet. It is not washed yet, so keep in mind it's not finished. You don't just rinse it in water and go. So I'm gonna go ahead and let out this water, and I'm gonna get ready to run some new water, and this new water is gonna be the water that I use to wash my wig. So you want to do an initial rinse just to make sure that you get all the residue out, so that way it's not just floating in the water while you wash. So I'm gonna go ahead and run again some lukewarm water. And I'm gonna start by putting a little bit of shampoo in my hand. You really don't need a whole lot, because with wigs, you don't need to make it super sudsy, but I mean, it's really up to you. So I'm rubbing it together in my hands. And I'm gonna go ahead and take my wig. I'm just gonna run my fingers down it. Since my water was running, I pretty much just put like literally a little bit of shampoo in my hand. You don't want to put too much shampoo in there, because you just don't want to make the wig too, like, I don't know, I just don't like to wash my wigs with a whole lot of shampoo. Tend to use like a very little, and if it's too dirty, then I'll go ahead and do another wash. But I like to keep it very simple and light. And I'm just running my fingers through it. Matter of fact, I might take my comb and just kind of run the comb through it.
Okay.
Are you ready? So I'm just taking a little bit of shampoo, and I'm gonna apply it towards the bottom, because this is where a majority of the friction comes from on the wig. Is in the back, where your neck area. So you want to make sure you get that really well. Again, at the top of the wig. So it's creating suds, but it's not too sudsy. You shouldn't have, because then it's going to take forever to wash out, and you do not want to leave your conditioner in your wig. So they do have wig shampoos that you guys can use if you guys would much prefer that. They do have those, and they might be a little bit better for your wigs. I mean, I've never went to the store and found any, so not my case. But if you like to do that, you can also do that as well. So as you guys can see, I'm just kind of running my fingers through it, letting the shampoo sit, making sure I get all the dirt out. As I rinse it in the water, it'll kind of get into these tracks, so that's good. You guys can see a little bit of shampoo in there, and up here in this lace part, so that way we can keep it nice and clean. So I'm gonna go ahead and run some new fresh water, and I'm gonna rinse it. So as you guys can see, I'm rinsing out the water, or not the water, but the wig. And like I said in the intro, you guys want to be careful with too hot of water. You don't want the dye from the wig to just keep seeping out. I have went ahead and rinsed out my wig. I'm just going to kind of comb through it, so that way it doesn't stay nappy. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and do another rinse through off camera, and then once I finish, I will show you guys exactly what to do next. Alright, so now that I finished washing my wig, I went ahead and wrapped it up in a towel, because I wanted to give it some time to kind of dry a little bit. I mean, it's not going to completely dry just sitting in your towel, but you do want to kind of get some of the water out of it. So after you squeeze it, you want to kind of just, it's still dripping at the bottom, as you guys can see, but at least it's not as wet as it was. So, you know, the tips are always going to be kind of wet. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm going to bring you guys closer so you guys can see exactly how I set it up to dry. I went ahead and got my wig, so now I'm just going to place it on the wig head. Now this one, I do have a pin, or whatever this is, little pin, so that way I can kind of keep my wigs in place. I would not advise that you do this if you know you're gonna rip, because you will rip your lace. But to kind of keep it in place, sometimes I just kind of pop that there. In this case, I do not need that because this wig is a little more form-fitting, so it fits my mannequin head. And the last step I usually do before allowing it just to sit out and dry, I go ahead and take my wig brush. You can use a regular brush, but I use this wig brush because it's a little better. The ends are used to help prevent split ends, so this is the best one to use whenever you finish washing the wig. So I'm just gonna kind of brush it out, just get rid of any of the knots and tangles that might be in it. Yes, it may look a little thin at first, but I promise you when it dries, it's gonna do its own thing. It'll look like the normal wig all over again. So I'm just gonna kind of get all of those naps in there. I wanna make sure I get the back as well, back by that neck area that I was telling you guys about, because that's where most of that friction comes from, so it's gonna more than likely tangle there first. So I'm just gonna continue to brush it back, forward, to the side, whatever. You just wanna get everything. Good afternoon, my loves. So yes, I went ahead and let my wig dry overnight. As you guys can see, it's a nice consistency to it. Baby is flowing, okay? She cute, she cute. And then you guys see on my edges, they're nice and clean. They're not like all nasty like they were yesterday. So this is actually how you want it to look. Usually I don't always straighten mine. Sometimes I wear it fresh from a wash, but it just, sometimes it looks good, sometimes it doesn't, so it depends on how you want your wig to look. So I'd advise straightening it, but if not, you can wear it like this also. Alright, so this is how you want your wig to look, as I said a couple of seconds ago. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Did it help? Did it not? Let me know down below in the comments. I love you guys so much. Oh, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I love you guys so much, and I will see you next time.